hi there. Welcome to the warp drive video. This is going to be a little out of sequence because this is the end of the work and adventure, but the beginning of the video, and that's just because I'm bad at making videos and I forget to film certain things. So I wasn't such a huge fan of the Sensenich prop that was on the airplane previously. It's more of a cruise prop as opposed to a climb prop, and I really like to climb quickly and get off the ground quickly, so I decided to go with the 3-blade warp drive. So the 3-blade warp drive that is on the airplane now came off of the Zenith that I used to fly. Brent got a new propeller for that plane, an E-prop, which actually really cool propeller. I just can't afford one. And anyway, the warp drive was just sitting there, and I said, hey, can I use that? And he goes, you can have it. I said, there you want. So anyway, that's what's on the airplane now. When I installed it, well, we're going to cut to the part where I install it. So here we go. Here's the installation.
Hey, welcome back to another video. We are going to change the propeller on the ApolloFox. As you can see, it currently has a 2-blade Sensenich, and we are going to change that over to a 3-blade warp drive. This is the propeller that used to be on the white Zenith that I flew, and that plane got a new propeller, and so Brent said I could try out this propeller on the ApolloFox. I'm hoping that it provides a little bit more pull, a bit more acceleration so I can get off the ground a little faster. And I'm not sure what it's going to do to my cruise speed, but I guess that's why we do fun things like this, to experiment. So yeah, that's the 2-blade, and as you can see, it's got tons of propeller clearance. That's a 68-inch diameter, I believe, and this new one is a 70 or 72, I can't remember, but at worst, there'll be an extra 2 inches on the end of that. That's still going to be plenty of clearance for off-airport operations. So this Sensenich prop is kind of cool in that there's a cam in here, and whenever you twist one blade, the other blade twists the same amount, and there's a little dial on here. You can see somebody's put some red tape on to indicate where the setting should be, and it's not exact because I adjusted it very slightly. But on the side here, you can see there's some notches and some indications here so that you can very quickly just take the spinner off, loosen the bolts, twist the blade to whatever pitch you want, lock it back down, and your propeller's changed. So there's the internal mechanism there. You can see there's a pin down there and another one here, and they're both connected to this cup. And when you rotate a blade, you'll see the cup spins. And as it spins, it means the other blade moves as well. So you can see I can move the left blade here, and the right blade is also moving. And that's how you can keep the pitch identical on both sides. The back half of the hub is just bolted directly to the propeller flange. The downside to this is that you can't just take the propeller off and put another propeller on without losing its pitch. You got to repitch it every single time you take the prop off, but with that easy to pitch mechanism, it's not such a big deal. So there's the prop flange with everything off. You can see there's a bit of dirt in there from some mud daubers probably, and it's got a little bit of corrosion. I wouldn't want to say corrosion, I guess, just like surface rust. So I'm going to clean that up a little bit just by spraying some anti-corrosion oil on there just to stop it from continuing. I'll clean up the face a little bit, and then I will continue with the installation. Little pro tip, if I may: whenever you're done uninstalling a component that you may use later, reassemble it as much as you can with all of the components in the correct spot. That way nothing gets lost. I only have 2 things to worry about where they are. If I find one, I'll make sure the other one's right next to it, and all of the components are already attached. So just something, a little tip that I can pass on to you guys. Hopefully makes your life a little bit easier sometime in the future. Whoops, I may have skipped a few steps there. Sorry about that. I got into building mode and forgot to document all of the different steps. So here is the warp drive propeller installed. You can see back here maybe these little knobs coming out the back of the flange. These get pushed in from this side, and they're threaded. And that's what the bolts thread into. So I believe they're stainless steel, and they're a very, very tight fit. In fact, they only go in about halfway, and then as you tighten the bolt, it pulls it into the flange the rest of the way. So it's a press fit. You got to actually use a hammer to get them back out usually. So anyway, those go in. This is the back of the spinner plate, I think maybe you call it. And then I'm going to torque these down to 180 inch-pounds, which is what the manufacturer recommends. And then I'll install the spinner. And that's as easy as it is. I don't have to repitch it because this came off of an airplane with the same horsepower engine. So it came off of the Zenith, which has the 100 horsepower 912 as well. And this is the 100 horsepower 912. So ideally, we're all set. The only thing I can think of is this plane's a bit slipperier. It goes faster. So I might hit the red line a little sooner. So I might actually have to put a bit more pitch into it, but I won't know that till I fly it. And I'm certainly not going to adjust anything until I get flying. As you can see, still plenty of clearance off the ground. So I'm not worried about sucking up stones or hitting rocks or anything when I'm off field. Basically, it is higher than halfway up the wheel. So I would never go over anything that's more than halfway up the wheel, which means I'm never going to hit anything with the propeller. Ideally, I would never go anything kind of bigger than that chalk, but you just never know what you run into when you're out having an adventure. Anyway, I'm going to put the spinner on, and after I torque it, of course, then I'll show you the finished product. And there it is, all put back together. I actually took it out and started it up before I put the spinner on, and that kind of helped set the bolts, and I re-torqued them just to make sure they don't come loose while the engine's running. And so yeah, it is good for a test flight now. And then after that, I'll take the spinner back off and re-torque the bolts one more time. If they haven't moved, then I'm good to go, and I will be able to see what the performance difference is. So I'm kind of excited. I think it looks a little bit better with the 3-blade prop on it anyway. But irregardlessly, I'm glad you guys came along for the installation, and let's jump into test flying it and see just how it does.
So it turns out that it being pitched properly for the Zenith, it was not pitched properly for this plane. The Zenith cruised at about 80 miles an hour, and this cruises at about 90 knots. So that's a difference of enough to make a difference. So when I went full power in the Zenith, it would come right up to 5,800 RPM, but no more, which is exactly how you pitch a 912. And when I put it on here, it went past 5,800, and that's not good. Now, hey, I got good climb performance out of it, but I want to be able to go full power and not overspeed the engine. So there I am, 5,600, 5,650, and if I leave it straight and level, it'll come right up to 5,800 and then stop. So it's pitched perfectly now. There's 4,800 RPM, straight and level, 14 liters an hour, 88, 89 knots. So that's not bad. Let's do full throttle, straight and level, and see what we get for that. So I don't want to go over. There's 5,600, 5,700, 5,800 right there. So it just gets up to 5,800, so I'm fine with that. Let's do 5,500 RPM. That is our maximum continuous RPM. 19 liters an hour, 105 knots. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That works out pretty good. I didn't get any footage of me repitching the prop because that's the same as whatever, installing it, I guess. But here is some footage because it was pitched really nicely for climb. Here's a quick clip of the takeoff performance. Thought I might try a short field takeoff because this is as fine as my propeller's ever going to be. So we'll go full power, full brakes. Not bad. So 150 feet to get off the ground with the propeller pitched for 5,500 RPM on full power on the ground and for takeoff. So I'm going to go back now and I'm going to do another takeoff performance test. Now it sits about 52.5 to 5,300 RPM. So we're going to see if that lengthens my takeoff roll considerably or if there's really not much to worry about. So let's go do that. I really got to figure out how to improve the turning radius of this plane. So I believe I was right here at this crack. Might be a little bit further this time, but that's okay, it'll still work. We're close enough, just behind the windsocks. Let's go full power. Brakes off. Virtually identical for takeoff performance, as far as I can tell anyway. That looked to be about, I was off the ground at around the same time as I was in the previous clip, so I really don't think having the propeller pitched any finer made any difference. Maybe 10 feet, I don't know, but not enough that I want to leave it so that my engine overspeeds whenever I go full power and level flight. So I'm quite happy with the way it's pitched now. And that airplane is still on the taxiway to my hangar, so I am going to land on the dirt runway again, where I took off from. And I'm going to land in the opposite direction, just because the wind is so light. It'll make it easier to get back to the hangar. There's definitely a different sound to this propeller. There's a whirring or a humming sound that it makes compared to the Sensenich. Takes a little getting used to. That pretty much concludes this video of the warp drive installation, so hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll see you in the next one.